Okay, welcome to another guide. The goal of this video is to showcase, explain and talk about the new world item from the Showdown test server, the bear trap. Keep in mind that I gathered these clips rather quickly and that the test server was up for only a couple days. Furthermore, they may change a few things before bringing the trap to the early access live server. To keep you up to date, please check my pinned comment below to see if there were any changes. There was already an update while I created this guide. We are now at the test server patch 2 update 1. And they adjusted already a few numbers. We will have the following chapters today. We start with a rather simple question: where can we find it? Then, how do we place them and make them ready for action? Afterwards, we will see how we disarm the trap. We will test how much damage the trap deals in PvP and PvE. We will have a look at how to use it and I will show a few use cases. And we will see that the trap is quite noisy. But how far can we actually hear it? Then I want to talk about hints and feedback. This includes my personal opinion for the current state of the game and possible changes that I would like to see/discuss. Final topic: current flaws. Right now the traps seem to not work 100% correctly. Which is fine, I mean it's from the test server and we are in early access. But you should know them to avoid a needless death in your matches. Let's go! Chapter 1. Where can we find it? The bear trap is an open world item, such as the axe, the sledgehammer or the oil lantern. You can't buy it in your hunter store as a tool or consumable. From playing the test server, I had the impression that they have the same spawn behavior as the oil lanterns. You can find them stored in the red boxes or laying around on the ground. Chapter 2. How do I arm it? Rather simple. Pick them up. Ready them with right click. If you can place it, the transparent model of the trap is green. If you pick the wrong ground, it is red. There are a few surfaces where you can't place them, so the ground has to be even, but mostly you have no problems with that. The game is rather, well, generous regarding placement possibilities. Here you can see a few examples. Now, how do we disarm it? I will show you the best way to disarm a trap. Step 1. Spot the trap. Step 2. Don't tell anybody you found one. Step 3. Tell your teammates to charge in.
Go. Was?
Ja, warte. Ja, okay. Dann YOLO.
Was denn, Oh.
Step 4. Profit.
Hast du wieder hingesetzt?
Now, if you want to be a team player, there are obviously different ways to disarm them. As soon as an object hits the trap, it goes off. For example, decoys trigger it. With the decoys I can show nicely that just touching the trap is enough to trigger it. You don't have to actually stand in the middle part. Fuses work. Melee attacks work. Knife, machete, bayonet, it seems as if any weapon works. You can even throw it and it works. Oil lanterns work, you trigger all of them. Any bullet works. You can go full Michael Bay and trigger them with explosions, you know, for science. Needless to say, I disapprove of making that much sound, but hey, let natural selection do its thing. The flare works too. The flash bomb works. Surprisingly, the beetle jam didn't work. The glass breaks, but nothing happens. By the way, although it's your item, the bugs don't care all too much about you. I tested it a bit more. Until my own beetle farm decided to murder me. Additionally, oil lamps didn't work. Kinda strange since the oil intern did, but hey. Then you have the boring way. If you get close enough, you get the option to disarm it. And of course, you can lure enemy AI into the trap, which brings us to the next chapter. Chapter 4, Damage Numbers. Let's start with PvP damage. How much hit points do we lose when we trigger a trap? To analyze this, we put a grid right next to the big health chunk. The initially inflicted damage is 20 hit points. The bleeding starts to tick right away. Depending on how fast you are with pressing the button Stop Bleeding, you lose an additional 12 to 14 hit points. So even if you know the trap is there and you instantly hit the Stop Bleeding button, you won't be able to save a small bar. If you step into a trap in the middle of a gunfight, you might even lose a big bar or even more, since sometimes running to cover must be prioritized over holding F in the line of fire. Again, this is the test server. This is very likely to get changed, as we just saw the last couple days. I know I'm repeating myself, but I try to keep the pinned comment as up to date as possible. Now, how good are they against the grunts? I'd say quite effective. Fighting Hives with a trap is not that useful due to her slow movement and her range attacks, but if you sneak up, a well-placed trap is enough. Next up, the Armored. As soon as they trigger the first trap, they suffer from the cripple effect and can only slow walk towards you. Before the patch we needed 7 traps, now we need 5. So there is a significant increase of damage. However, I still think this is not the way to kill them. Pull out your knife and make it personal. 3 heavy attacks and 2 slow light swings are enough to finish them off. And since they get staggered every time you hit them, you normally don't get hurt by them. I tried Hellhounds, they changed their pathing on a test server. I tried to get them to trigger the trap with a bit of dancing around. Almost died, so that's a big no. There are ways to battle them with traps. You can get a bit excessive with the traps at bottlenecks, but you need 3 hits to kill 1 Hellhound. Not really worth the effort. However, their athletic way to go to the afterlife always puts a smile on my face. Their Meathead. Meh. I got some inconsistent data here. Before the latest patch, 8 traps took care of them. Now it's 5 or 6. I think their lag hitbox is very large, so depending on the angle you might inflict not the optimal damage, but 6 were always enough. Normally I don't display bosses when showing damage numbers, but this time I thought, why not? Against the Butcher they are actually quite effective, damage-wise. But it takes a lot of time to gather the traps, setting them up, sometimes multiple times, to kill him. I mean, I was faster with my double Silent Nagant fanning loadout. But for a duo, this could be a legit tactic. There are a few advantages in doing so. For example, you are not giving away information regarding your loadout. So even if people know you're killing him, they don't know if they're up against a Winfield or a Crown King. This might influence their decision making. With the new update, 11 traps were enough to collect his bounty. So they do around 8 to 9% of his life pool. From the moment he triggered the first trap, it took me 1.5 minutes, but you can do it in 1 if you hurry, and maybe even faster if you're not doing this solo and with more traps. The second boss, the Spider. It is a pain in the butt to get this spastic 8-legged wall-crawling, acid-spitting abomination into the traps. And if you manage to do it, Given. This might be a bug. She has no hover pegs attached to her legs, so she's definitely touching the ground and not floating. But as you can see, she ignored them completely. But even if they would work, they have to do a high amount of damage, because otherwise, with their unpredictable movements, killing the spider with traps only sounds more like a Strat Roulette tactic than a legit method to kill it. Alright, Chapter 5. Use Cases. Now we are entering the part of the guide where my personal opinion is included. Feel free to place them wherever you think it makes sense. These are just my suggestions. Yes, I have to say this 3 times because this is the internet. Use case 1. Downed hunters. You can place the trap in them. They become hard to spot, especially for players who dash in for a revive. They have their eyes and focus on areas further away, such as high grounds, trees, windows and bushes. Yes, you can revive a hunter without triggering the trap, but that is actually the worst situation. Your hunter buddy gets revived just to get their nuts clipped off again by the trap. Hilarious to watch, by the way. Fun fact, the higher the tier of the hunter, the easier it is to camouflage the trap. Codes cover the trap way better than a white shirt tier 1 hunter. Keep in mind, the placement of the trap is crucial. The trap has to be beneath their feet after the revive animation. Another hunter was very kind and helped us to get Joe in the down state. I, of course, placed the trap at his feet. With quite satisfying results.
It says killed by teammate.
Whoops.
It says killed by Psychoghost, killed with bear trap.
If there are no other hunters around, you have to do the team downing yourself. Do not report me, okay?
I don't think I can even.
As you can see, this time the trap gets not triggered.
I'm not on it.
Use case 2. Clues. Currently you can place them in clues. If they are still sealed, this becomes quite dirty. You have to pay attention to spot the trap. Yes, you can use the clue without triggering the trap. But there are players, like me, who turn around before grabbing the clues so they can scan the open area while they are in the animation. That way, if you get shot, you can spot muzzle flashes or even the hunter, if you survive the first shot. Furthermore, this becomes even more effective if you place the trap into a clue at night time. By the way, Crytek, I love you for giving me the option to cancel the animation now. Use case 3. Doors. Kinda obvious. We are here at Blanchard Graves, but it works with every door. Place the trap right behind the door frame. Close the door. It will not trigger the trap, although it touches it. Now we roleplay as the first clue white shirt rusher and open the door. You can't even see it. Your camera angle has to be way lower to see it. And even if you spot it, the momentum from the sprint will most likely let you trigger the trap. Use case 4. Windows. Look at this building. Veteran hunters know that this is a clue building. All the doors, even the one at the back, can be barricaded. If that is the case, then the only way to get into this house quietly is through this window. Now let's place this trap right here, and let's see how that looks. Okay, yeah, have fun spotting that while moving into the building. Use case 5. Ladders. Place them at the top of the white ladders. There's no way to disarm them easily. You have to bounce a throwable item from the wall into the trap. or shoot it from a good angle, so good luck with that. Especially if there's a hunter around who armed the trap in the first place. You can block escape paths from boss lairs, for example Stillwater. Yeah, the Stillwater where they changed the boss lair on the test server. They added, you probably guessed it, ladders, to make it easier to extract. How ironic. I mean, of course you can just run through it, stop the bleeding and use a medkit charge to heal up, but the snap sound will alarm the hunters around you, over quite a long distance. Another place to block ladders are the watchtowers. Again, Stillwater, there are a few towers around the compound, and you can actually block people from getting into them by placing a trap at the top of the ladder. Use case 6, water. Traps completely disappear in the water. No way you spot that. There are maybe not a lot of spots where this is useful, but Catfish Grove, Allen & Sons Fish, Scupper Lake, Port Rica, and many more locations with a lot of water could provide some sweet spots to place them. Here I can show you one spot at the boss lair in the Scupper Lake compound.
Maybe die to dogs.
Another example, Darrow Livestock. I love entering the compound through the little flooded tunnel, although normally I don't run through it, because you enter the compound in a rather hidden spot. But the tunnel is, as mentioned, flooded. Yeah, so much for that entry path. I found much more places to be a supreme douchebag of trappery and catch you off guard with almost completely invisible traps. But I think showing you one or two spots is enough. Use case 7. Basically every path around or in a boss lair. Honestly, it doesn't even matter if you place them completely in the open, so even an almost blind person would be able to spot them. They still serve a second purpose. Bear traps can be used as audio traps. There is, at least for now, no way to disarm the traps quietly. They will always make this metallic snap sound. Use case 8. Block stuff. Be annoying. You play this game to win. You can be a nuisance for other players, so be it. Have fun wasting your time trying to grab that ammo box. Or maybe even get shot while trying to do so. Or you give away your position with the unique snap sound while you grab that pack of ammunition. Use case 9. Drop them in grass. There are a few paths that are quite frequently used by hunters, like the obvious paths. Drop them there. Here for example the high grass. Or behind this fence, a commonly used entry path to lock bay dogs. Use case 10. Supply boxes and supply points. You can place them rather sloppy right in front of them, or put a little more effort in it and hide them in darker areas, or beneath rubble. Alright, that were some use cases. Keep in mind the test server was only up for a couple of days and I had only 2 evenings to gather the clips. On top of that, everyone runs around full YOLO with the nitros. It was kinda difficult to put everything together in that short amount of time. Especially since, well, I wanted to actually play the new content as well. I mean, they added way more than just a bear trap, so get creative and keep your eyes open for more use cases. Feel free to drop them in the comment section. I'm curious which nasty spots you found. Chapter 6. Sound test. Now you have to keep in mind that we are playing a game where sound has a tremendous impact. So be aware that whenever you place a trap or you set a trap off, the whole compound will most likely hear you. You can see here we are pretty far away and I can still hear it. Do it. This is the distance where the arming and disarming sound completely
Okay.
vanished.
Set it off.
And that is really, really far. That made 0 sound. Chapter 7. General hints and discussion/suggestions. Let's start with trap spawns. They never spawn armed. Always disarmed. So the moment you spot an armed trap, you should be careful. A hunter was here or is even still around. Then something that I find really convenient, you can place the traps while moving. This works both ways. You can go forward, you will step over the trap without triggering it, and you can go backwards and still place it. Next, I think that long-range rifles will get a passive buff with the traps. As long as you are in the no damage drop-off zone, what a word, which is quite far, you become a body one-shot for the long-range ammunition after triggering the trap at long range. To do that with a wind field, you have to be way closer. As you can see with this graph, provided by the devs of the game, the drop-off for long-range ammunition is way later. So placing the traps on common paths everybody takes or at crucial locations can give you this sweet one-shot long-range time window. Furthermore, I bet my Steam account that a lot of hunters will hit immediately that F button to stop the bleeding. They will become a slow-moving target with enough hit points to get blasted with a single round of your rifle. But this is just theory crafting. I wasn't able to pull it off. Yet. Then there's one thing that kinda annoys me, but maybe that's just me. Hunt is a game where sound plays a monstrous role. Please give us the possibility to disarm them quietly. Let it have an animation that you must channel, compared with grabbing a clue. Or use the door mechanic. If you're crouched, you disarm it without a noise, while standing running, you disarm it with the usual snap sound. Or make a combination of both. Of course there should be a penalty for hunters who step into the traps. And there is. Damage, bleeding and the audio trap. But there should be an advantage for skilled enemy hunters too. If you place the traps sloppy and they spot them, they should be able to disarm the traps quietly and ambush you. Additionally, I would love to be able to rearm the trap without the need of picking it up again. Right now you have to pick it up and place it again. And please give the trap a cripple/slow effect. Or even trap the hunter in place and they need to break free. I mean, you're stepping in a huge trap that normally would crack your bones or shred your leg. No way you just keep on running. Yeah, we are playing a video game, but this is somehow breaking the immersion for me. But they mentioned in a dev stream that they want to add it, which I can't wait for. So we just have to be a little patient. Last chapter. Flaws. I had some real issues killing the hives with a trap. They seem to float over them, and if you disarm the trap too close to them, they send their bug swarm at you. Their corpses do trigger the trap, which is probably not the intentional way to do it. And once or twice, even the armored monsters decided to ignore my traps. Now, a few monsters seem to be completely immune to the trap. I'm talking about the chickens, and I'm talking about the dogs and the camels. Then I told you that the trap has to be beneath their feet after the animation ends, however this doesn't work reliably. Furthermore, if they have the trait resilience, they have enough hit points to survive the trap, at least with a big bar, and if they're fast enough. Conclusion. Again, Crytek managed to implement something without it being completely overpowered at release. It adds immersion and can be useful. It fits the game perfectly. But I personally think the preparation work compared to the gained benefit is not balanced yet. But it's hard to say after 2 or 3 evenings. But you have to predict other hunters, getting the traps, setting them up in the perfect spot, wait for somebody to come just to see them avoid the trap. Well, it is very situational. There are definitely plays, including the traps, and I'm sure it will do nicely in my funny moments playlist. So whenever you see me picking up the bounty, watch your step. Final words. I'm not claiming I found all the possibilities regarding the perfect use of the bear trap, but I hope I was able to showcase, explain and maybe even teach you a few things with this video. Keep in mind this was recorded on a test server and a few things will most likely or even have already changed. Check my pinned comment regarding any updates. Don't forget to drop your nasty tactics and ideas. I am curious. Feel free to share the video. That's it. If you enjoyed the video, you might want to check out the channel. If you like what you see, consider subscribing. I see you in the next one. Until then, have a nice day and bye bye my fellow hunters. Let's live to die another day.